We're on, yes.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. Day one of the 5-day challenge, Momentum for Business. Yesterday, we spoke about the why. You went 5 levels deep, got through the core of why. Why do you want a business? Why is it that you're actually here for this business, showing up? And I don't know if you noticed when Beata shared, it's like how deep that went. You get, and from your own exercise, you might have noticed you actually get into your own heart. And it gets very emotional and very, very deep. And it's so much more than what you might think your why is when you just sort of surface level think about it. So taking that, today we are diving into the what. Like, what is your vision? What is it? What sort of business are you going to create? What's in your heart? Like, where do you want to go from that? Some of you might have very specific ideas of, what business you're building and where you're going with it. However,
Some people might already have
let's
a
get
business,
curious.
right? And
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people might already have a business and be expanding to the next level. So you still want to go with that and go, okay, I've already got it, but obviously because you're here, it's not quite where you'd love it to be. So you're building on that.
Yeah. And you might have already a vision, like an idea of what that next level is, right? Where you're going with it. However, let's assume that also there's a deeper level. There's deeper levels that you might not be aware of, right? Because when we envision where we want to go with the entire business, with the next step of our business, wherever we are, right? There's people from on all sorts of stages in their business in this group. What we tend to do when we envision, we sort of envision the next step within what we think is possible. Within what we think is possible for us, within what we think is possible that we can actually achieve, right? And that stays within a gated community, so to speak, right? Of what we think is, yeah, what we think is possible. However, let's assume there's more, because we tend to sort of limit ourselves in what we think we are capable of, because we look at ourselves as we are now and we don't consider that business is this growth process. And when I continue walking this path, I will be a different person in a few months from now. So the vision needs to be bigger. Not it needs to be, but it is bigger. It is actually bigger.
Yeah.
So today, where we want to take you to is to go deeper, wider, more expansive with the vision. And I will lead you through a process to do that. Before I start that, is there anything else, Beata, that we should mention before we dive in?
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to add to that is that you've got your why and you've got your idea of who you are and where you're at, right? You know where you're at, and one of the purposes of the vision, we're talking momentum in this challenge, right? One of the purposes of creating that biggest expression of this business that you can imagine is that it actually sets up a structure where you get naturally pulled towards it, right? So there's this growth momentum that it begins to create. It actually creates a force or force field, if you like. So that's your why behind doing what we're about to do.
Yeah, thank you. It is important. Before I start, you will need something to write. It can be a device, it can be pen and paper. So if you don't have that handy already, pause the recording and go get that. And now I'm going to assume everybody has got something to write, and let's start, shall we? So put yourself into a comfortable position. Maybe, you need to stretch, move a little bit, and then make yourself comfortable. And just take a couple of deep breaths, inhaling, exhaling through the nose. And on your next exhalation, close down your eyes. You're going onto an imaginative journey here. Notice your breathing, how your breath travels into your body. And notice your breath physiologically travels into your chest, your lungs, which are in your heart space. Every breath you take energizes your heart space, physically and energetically. Expanding it, nurturing it. So with this awareness in your heart space, set an intention for this exercise to really get to the true vision of your business, regardless of whether you already have one or if you're just starting out. Intend to receive the full vision. And then imagine looking up and finding yourself at the footsteps of a hill, a small hill, an elevation, and there's stairs leading up to it, 3 steps. And as you look up, you see there's a portal. Imagine taking those 3 steps up to the portal. And as you stand before it, you realize that this is a portal where you just know if you walk through it, you will step into a realm where the true vision for your business is already alive, where it exists, fully expressed. And as you stand there and imagine that, you notice there's a curiosity welling up inside of you. I wonder what it looks like. And you know that you have already some ideas, but you realize that what lies behind that portal is something that you might never have contemplated before in that magnitude. And you notice you're getting more curious and curious and curious. And somehow, as curiosity grows, you're leaving behind your ideas that you already have about your business. It's like posing them down at the doorstep of this portal for the time being. And then when curiosity is at its peak, you find yourself compelled to step through the portal, a magic portal that touches deep down in every cell as you imagine yourself stepping through it. And then you are in the field, in this realm of the true vision of your business. And you stop and you just observe. Take it in with all your senses. You've got smell, sight, got your hearing, physical senses. And notice what you notice. In your imagination, you're making it up. Imagine what this looks like and write it all down. One element at a time. And if you sort of have the sensation that you're not getting any information, you're not seeing, feeling anything, just imagine that you are. Imagine seeing something, imagine experiencing it, making it up in your imagination, and write that down. And just keep writing. Pause the recording here and come back to the recording when you feel you're complete, you've got the complete picture. You will know. And then come back to this recording. Right. Now, you've written your vision. There's probably going to be a relatively lot to it. Now see if you can formulate, word what you got, the information that you got on very many levels, many senses, many imagery, if you're visual. If you had to condense it into one sentence, do that. Just assume that you can capture the essence of it in just a few words, right? Getting one sentence that encapsulates your vision. And your challenge for today is to share that. Share that within the group, within the challenge. What's your vision? So looking forward to reading that. There's so much beauty when people share what truly matters to them.
True. And you know, it's interesting. I've had a business for a long time, and just as you were doing that meditation, I still got a heap of stuff that I was like, oh wow, and this, and this, and this. You know, so it's just so powerful to step back in, regardless of what stage you're at. There's always room for expansion, right? Expansion and growth is so natural, and we so often stifle it. So it's so important to just revisit these things. And also, it's important to share. And I'll tell you why. Yes, for the purpose of the challenge, also for the purpose of connecting you to the stuff that's going to come up when you start to share. Because the moment you've got a big vision, the moment you go there and you go, oh wow, I could actually do this. All the fears, all the little voices, all those voices of auntie so and so and cousin so and so and second auntie twice removed, and everyone from your past and everyone that doesn't exist, right? Your own voice, all of that's going to come up. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Beliefs, all of that kind of stuff, all the stuff that stifles that natural growth. So that's why it's super important to share in the group so that you can notice what comes up. And that way you'll be well primed for tomorrow's challenge. Anything else we need to talk about, Lena?
I'm just realizing if you feel your vision is too big, you can't condense it into a sentence, send the novel, right? Like if you've written a novel and you want to share that. Don't get hung up about it has to be short, right? Just
or pick up the phone and just record it, right? Just talk to the phone and share like that. Yeah, however it comes, there's no rules, right? There's structures, there's no rules. So can't wait. So looking forward to it, and we'll see you all tomorrow for another installment. See everybody.